This is what unsuccessful traders probably do. So if you don't want to be in this category, then certainly these are the things that you need to kind of change. So you don't have a set trading plan. You chase markets, you jump into trades, you're not following a plan. You trade with fear and greed, you're getting emotional about trades. If you hesitate before entering a trade, if you're entering a trade that isn't in the trading plan, if you have one, you increase stops. So in other words, increase the risk, just to avoid being wrong. If you catch yourself doing that, if you've put the wrong stop, okay, there's ways around that. Okay, either just reduce your size. If this just happened, reduce your size, close some of it off, and increase the stop to where you need it to be, but just don't increase your risk. Okay. And again, just feeling that the market is against them personally. They're out to get me, kind of thinking. And this is a typical one: betting big to make up for prior losses. It's just you've really got to avoid these kind of errors. Being impatient rather than waiting for predefined hyper-early setups. And going back to the quote that we said earlier from one of our traders, Henry, it's so important that you just wait for the best setups. Are you kind of, why are you trading? Are you trading for an emotional roller coaster? Or are you trading for a living? You want to be professional. You just got to wait, be patient. And sometimes, you turn up and there's nothing to trade, and that's perfectly fine. And the outside world might struggle with that and think, what are you doing all day? You're just staring at screens and you're not trading. But that doesn't matter. It's just part of the process. And there's going to be other days when everything is moving and you've got all your setup, and you might take 10 trades. So if you do all of the above, or any or some of the above, you're actually, in our opinion, planning for failure. Yeah, that's what you're doing. You're almost planning to fail, and that's why you need to really think about these. Don't just sort of agree. Actually think about them and start to think, do I fall in this category? Am I doing any of these things? Because if you are, it's only a matter of time. You might get lucky one or two times, for example, and that's probably the worst thing that can happen is you move your stop, you get lucky, it doesn't stop you out, and it goes and hits your target. Because what you're doing then is you're teaching your brain that it's okay to do that, and before you know it, if you do it often enough, it will become a habit, and one of these days, it's going to hit you, and it's going to hit you hard, and that's going to be, sometimes for a lot of people, very hard to recover. So don't do it. Successful traders, you learn from a mentor. We could be your mentor, but you've got to find somebody that suits you, that's something that resonates with you somewhere. As I said, I've worked with some really great people in the past. I've been willing to sort of go, travel the world to actually work with really, famous traders. I'm not going to mention their names here, but if you ever have a private chat with me, I'll tell you who they are. But some really, really top traders, and I was willing to do that because I understand the importance of learning from somebody who's doing better than what you're doing. Again, just to kind of reiterate what we're talking about, there's one piece of advice is don't learn from a lecturer, learn from a trader. Okay, because you're not gonna believe if somebody's not trading, and most sort of education companies, they have great educators, but if they're not trading it themselves, how on earth are you going to believe that it's possible for you to make money? Whereas what we have here, I believe, kind of works because you can see that we're trading every single day, and then what we teach you is exactly what we trade. So very important that you have that. So whatever you do, if you find the mentors outside of here, just make sure that they are real traders. Again, psychological traits of a successful trader: built a clear trading plan they can trust. We mentioned this already. Understand that it will make money if they are slaves to their plan. So in other words, no matter what happens, Charles, going back to you, it's like if your part of your plan is to continue to trade those and execute those trades the same, that's exactly what you need to do. The only time that you stop doing that is when you're reviewing your trade plan. So if it's not working and you reviewed your trades and you are executing them well and you're following your rules like you should, then you need to review your trade plan. Again, we mentioned keep a detailed trader and review regularly. I suggest once a week. If you can do it once a day, great, but I'd say at least once a week. Understand that losing is also part of the game. Okay, it's inevitable. If you can't take losing, then you shouldn't be in trading. And we're not talking about being a losing trader. I'm just talking about at any given one time, you can lose in the trade. Again, it's just part of the process. You turn up, you do your job, and you could go home with less money than when you started. And that is the reality of a trader. You've got to absolutely accept that, you know, and you've got to avoid talking to people that don't understand trading as well, you know, because you're going to get negative feedback. Imagine going home to, you know, to your spouse or whoever else, you know, to your wife, and saying, oh, you know, how'd you get on today? And the first, if you know, if they've got no idea about trading, you tell them that you've lost money, you know, they won't understand that you know, you've, or you'll break even for the day, and, you know, you've worked for sort of 12 hours in a day, and you're quite happy yourself because you followed your plan, you haven't taken any trades, and, you know, you go home and you kind of try and explain that somebody doesn't trade. It's very difficult, and my advice is don't speak about it with those sort of people. That's what's great here, is that, you know, we're in an environment we can just speak to traders, and you don't need to watch. So if you had a bad day, you know, you're in that environment, with a positive environment, you've got the support, and therefore, like, you know, you just go home and say, right, okay, it's just a day, no worries, I'll come and smash it the next day. And you just got to have that attitude. You've got to have that mental about you. Have well thought out goals, very important. We'll just speak about those in a minute as well. Very important that you have strong goals. Relaxed and focused. Okay, so when you're trading, you don't need, if you're tense, you know, you've got to just stop trading. You need to be just relaxed, focused, and just really on the markets. Have a well-balanced life of work and fun. Okay, it's not just about, you know, we work hard, really hard in the week, we love what we do, but you know what, we can plan something, you know, do something exciting, make sure you're sort of enjoying your time off as well. Okay, so you've got a well-balanced lifestyle. Very important, this as well, reward yourself for good work as well. That doesn't necessarily mean, you know, that you've made money, but it's actually just following your plan. So kind of set your rewards up. It can be something really small, you know, even if you don't have, you know, the funds to sort of do anything, you know, that's, you know, really big. Just, you know, if it's just, even if it's just something small, just, you know, have a reward and say, right, this is because I followed my plan perfectly this week. You know, even if it ends up being that you were lost in that week, it doesn't matter because you did your job. Okay, it could have been a lot worse if you didn't do your job. So ask yourself this, okay, and really think about it. Am I willing to do what it takes to become a successful trader? Okay, some of you guys, I can already see that you are, okay, and what you should all be saying is, yes, I will prepare and plan for this. I understand that when I master myself in trading, I will have the life I've dreamed about, one I can look back and be proud of. Okay, and that's what it's about. You know, this is what we, you know, we love what we do, but also it's kind of at the end of it, you know, you want the rewards as well. So if you're willing to do what it takes, you will have success. Okay, and these are the things that you need to find a way to do what it takes. Hope that everybody, does that make sense? Just type in a Y if that makes sense. Right. Okay, I'm gonna take a pause because we've got a few questions and comments. James, just saw your comment. Good plan. Run that idea past my baby and wife. Yeah. Well, I'm sure they'll understand. Half an hour will be, you know, it'll be worth it. Or, you know, you could also do it in the week. You know, you could do it. You know, finish half an hour early, just on a Friday. Just before you go and have your beer, you can kind of have a quick, you know, glance at your journal. You know, it doesn't take more than half an hour. I mean, you know, it depends how many trades you take, but you should be good. Okay, so Ashraf, you've just put, I'm good at analysing markets, but my execution is really bad. When I believed my analysis, I lost money. But if I did not believe my analysis and stayed away from trading, it actually did it according to my analysis. Okay, fine. Yeah, so just, yeah, you just need a bit more experience. You need to be very clear before you take trades. Okay, and you know, you have to have a very clear trade plan, which is what we recommend. So you know, we can have another conversation if you want. I'll let you know what you need to do at the end. Charles, when I was working to an update journal, I used to freelance.com and paid someone $8 an hour to do it. Good solutions with people with long hours. You know, Charles, we actually spoke about that, about hiring an assistant here as well, funnily enough, the other day. It's not a bad idea. I mean, if they're inputting you know, the main things for you, obviously you need to tell them the reasons why you entered the trade and so on, and the screenshots. But that's a smart idea, very good idea. We actually did consider that, and we'll probably do something similar. But as long as you're getting the right information, then that's fine. I mean, the other thing with freelancers, they're not here to kind of tell them exactly, you know, what to input, but you know, it's definitely a solution. Alfred, I review my journal once a week, as I mentioned earlier. We've got some of the traders here that do it daily. Because I've got quite a lot on every day. I'm quite happy doing it once a week. And to be honest, I mean that's perfect because I like to see what I've done for the week. So Alfred, you're saying, how do you find a good trade in your opinion? Well, there's a big process to that. Okay, you need to have, you know, it's kind of beyond the scope of here, but you need to have as a process to sort of doing that. For me, it's kind of looking at multiple time frames. It's looking at the big picture, understanding, you know, where are we probably heading. If I'm unclear on the big picture, then if I'm honest, I won't take a trade, or definitely reduce my size, because I need to know where this market's going. And if I don't understand where the big picture is, you know, when I look at the sort of higher time frames, it's going to be a lot harder or less probable that I'll get the day trade correct. Now, there are certain strategies that we use that are perfect for any market, and you know, I will execute those. But if I don't have the higher time frame really clear, I'll just reduce my size. Okay, because essentially what I'm trying to do is, if you need to understand probabilities. Once you understand probabilities, then you can size your trades accordingly. So this is a brief diagram about belief systems, and you know, this is what we mentioned earlier. So you have a belief. Based on that belief, you take an action, and that action gives you a result, and that result will then add strength to the belief. So what you need to do is actually, you need to work on your actions. Okay, because everybody, you know, we can probably all agree, especially after what we've been through just now, that everybody knows the good actions of a successful trader. You know, what you need to be doing. You know, we'll mention a few more things, but you know, the things that you need to be, you know, the routines that you need to build, you know, your mindset, everything else. So if you know what they are, you can measure yourself. How good are you putting those actions together? Because what that will do is that action will then create a different result. So if you're actioning a negative belief system, your result will probably end up being negative. Like, so a negative belief system, as we mentioned earlier, could be making money is hard. So if you had that kind of belief system, your action will be probably in line with that belief system, and then your results will also mean you probably losing money. But even if you have that belief ingrained in you, if you took an action that said, right, I'm executing my trade plan, this is my set trade plan, I've got fixed rules, and if I execute this well, I'm going to get really good results, and this result is going to give me my goals, okay, which we'll speak about in just a moment. And that will give you the motivation and the drive to actually execute something that feels uncomfortable, but actually is the right way to trade.